Another beautiful day, 16th of September 2021. I absolutely love this lavender bush, or these two lavender bushes, always just absolutely alive with bees. It's the first autumn in quite some time that I'm not the feeling of kind of dread that winter's on the way. I'm actually quite looking forward to the first part of the winter, kind of leading up to Christmas. My daughter and I were discussing where we're going to put the Christmas tree, things like that, last weekend, which was lovely. I was talking to my counsellor today, and I was saying to her how that roof over my head was like somebody starting a business. They've got the collateral behind them, they've got that space, but that's just the start of it. That isn't them being a Fortune 500 level international business. That is literally just the start, and having that base and that roof over my head is just such a solid start to trying to get on with life. It really is. But as I said yesterday, I've always been such a square peg in a round hole with regards to this system. There's nothing that I can return to. It literally is about where I'm going to go, not what I'm returning to. Some weeks, talking to my counsellor last week was a good for instance, where it just flowed and everything was just coming out of me just as I see it and feel it. But today, thanks to not feeling kind of physically with it, certainly not emotionally with it, it just felt like a bit of a chore. And she's a great person and very good at what she does, and I even felt at one point we were just on completely different pages. Now, we all have that situation when we're young, don't we? When we go out to the pub or somewhere that's a sort of recreational adult area, and we try and repeat it within 7 days. The next Saturday we'll all go to the same place and everybody's in a completely different frame of mind, completely flat, and save for the visage of the bricks and mortar around you, feels like you're completely different people, let alone have anything in common. I had a bit of an event that I had to ask permission to tell you about, and the other party was completely in agreement. I met someone who, by their own description, has been one of my trolls. Walking in an area of, Oxfordshire, and somebody stopped me and said, "I know who you are," and you can imagine where this went. And we talked for a couple of minutes and said, "I've got an apology to make to you. I've given you a lot of grief over the last couple of years, and indeed you blocked me because of stuff I said in the wake of, it was just prior to me and my ex-girlfriend splitting up, and put my mind at rest." Lovely person. And put my mind at rest with regards to the whole troll mentality. And this person explained to me just where they'd been in their life and how much they recognised of themselves in me. And I could see when I was talking to this person, it was just a very hurt and upset individual by their own description. And it's only happened to me 3 or 4 times. Once was in central London where somebody went, "Oh, he slacks her." I thought, oh my God. And it happened a couple of times down in Dover where people recognised me. But it was nice to have my theory kind of proved. I've always maintained that those people who are dealing out hate and spite towards you online, once they put their computer down, they don't go into a dark cave and get their trident out of a roasting furnace and sacrifice babies to Beelzebub. No, they just get on with their normal lives. They drive your buses, serve you in shops, they're in the queue at the dole office. Just all very average people who probably go morning to 90% of people they walk past in the street, you know. It's just I know that this is true of me as well, just people who make negative comments online, you know, when they are just negative for the sake of it. There's something wrong with that person, you know, and it deserves sympathy. But sadly, the person you're kind of giving abuse to online is not that person to give you help, I guess. But it was nice to meet somebody, instantly recognised their screen name when they told it to me. I had to take a step back, so I thought, you're not the sex I thought you were, let alone from this area. But yeah, funny old world, isn't it? It's a side of myself that I try and put to rest as much as possible, and that's ever commenting in a negative way on people's output. Find it extremely difficult. My disappointment and sadness with my own life is 95% to blame. You know, occasionally there are just people saying utterly scandalous, ridiculous things, or getting praise for artistry that they don't possess, or plagiarism. You know, it's so hard to keep quiet, but it's an echo chamber and it's pointless getting involved. But I do struggle with that, I freely admit it, and I do understand what latterly has been, you know, referred to as the troll mentality. It's far too readily used for people who've got a damn good point that you don't agree with, the word troll, though. Given some perspective, I think that if people applied the same absurd exaggeration to, or the twisting of the truth, as they do so readily on people's content and comments, and they get called trolls just for merely disagreeing, having an alternate standpoint on something. If these people, if you stick that outwards, change the scenario slightly, they would probably claim somebody who lightly nudged you with a shopping trolley whilst in the supermarket as having committed grievous bodily harm. You know, we live in a very dangerous time with regards to definition. It's amazing how readily people invoke latter-day blasphemy clauses as well. You're too this, you're too that, you're too old, you're too young, you're too thin, you're too fat, you're a man, you're a woman, you know, whatever differential there is to why your opinion doesn't matter, or why you shouldn't be involved in any given conversation. And my hobby is gaming, has been my whole life, and as the world has moved on since gaming got its grips really majorly in the 1990s, a lot of people who are in their 20s then, like me, are now in their mid-40s and 50s onwards. You know, there are people on YouTube who are in their 80s with gaming channels, and fair play to them. I've had X amount of people, and I make an unpopular point, saying that you're just too old to be doing this, granddad. You know, that's just really sad. And I think the majority of those game franchises that you cling on to, Doom, Destiny, all of their creators are now in their 50s because they've grown in years with the industry that they represent. Saw a fantastic little video recently of John Romero, one of the designers of the original Doom from 1993, playing the latest incarnation of Doom on the PC, and it was a joy seeing a man who was basically looking at one of his grandkids, you know, great creation of his, and playing the game. Wasn't very good at it, but yeah, it's fantastic to see, and he's in his 50s, you know. I freely admit that 20 years ago I used to look at guys, not so much women, it's a very sexist outlook, you know, in their 50s and still quite punk rock looking, still got their piercings, and I used to think, you sad git. And you know, time moves on so quickly, and quite often you don't change. You're the person you decided you were, or you were in your heart, is exactly the same in your 20s as you are in your 50s. Why should you change? It's all about intent really, isn't it? When you see somebody who is living the lyrics of The Oldest Swinger in Town, that song from the 1970s, when your dentures glow in the ultraviolet light, you're the oldest swinger in town. You know, it's about intent, and there's nothing worse than peeing. There's nothing worse than peeing. There's nothing worse than seeing people at a certain age who are they haven't grown old gracefully and stayed true to what they are. They still think they're 20, and especially with men trying to sort of court young ladies. It's a pitiful sight. It really fucking is. Roger Taylor from Queen was talking about the video for Radio Gaga, which has got a real Nuremberg fascist feel to it, and it's all to compliment the background of the video, which is a Fritz Lang movie, Metropolis. And if this last couple of years has taught me anything, that if people want to find an agenda that they can project upon you, they'll do so. Facts and the reality of situations don't matter. I'm very much at peace with one big situation in my life that I had absolutely hateful intent projected upon me over, and it's the most absurd thing I've ever heard on reflection. And I just don't care anymore. People can think what they like, you know. Things can get very dangerous with what people project upon you, but I honestly, on a troll level, let's say, I just don't care anymore. I've had the worst of it. I've had the most neutral of it. And as Roger Taylor said of Radio Gaga, if people got an agenda, they will say and read what the hell they want to in what you were trying to say, what subliminal message that truly is, who you truly are. And yeah, I'm with him on that one. You know, I've done it myself. See people who make videos and do blogs and vlogs and everything, and I've projected utter nightmare status onto those people. And the truth of it is they've got one little opinion, one little brick in the house of who they are, which mildly riles me. You can't dismiss a person's entirety, and all of their single beliefs are tiny little bricks in the foundations of what and who they are. And I find it difficult, and I try and steer clear of arguments and controversy now, because I know that my ego is going to really want to grab hold like a Jack Russell and keep shaking until I taste blood and then not let go. But it doesn't mean I'm right. It's just an opinion. I just can't get worked up. Or I can get worked up about opinions, but I just don't want to anymore. Yeah. People have mildly harassed me in my time, and people have tried to literally destroy me as a human being. And I've seen everything in between. And it can be dangerous and it can be frightening, but not letting that mentality and those scum have any impact on my life, unless it's impossible to avoid.